Keepers nervous, strikers, they'll deliver. Crowd roars erupted, you can feel the quake. 80,000 voices.
The Chelsea fans, according to Fabrizio Romano, transfer insider, Chelsea, are close to completing the signing of, Ipswich striker Liam Delap. How do I feel about it? For me, if he turns out to be the only striker that Chelsea signs this season, maybe you have him and Jackson. For me, that's not good enough. It's definitely not good enough. Definitely not good enough. At this point in Chelsea's development, in Chelsea's progression, you've just won the Conference League, you're in the Champions League spots already, and you're looking to push on. Now, Liam Delap can be the guy you sign and say, yeah, we've got that striking, problem solved. Because just like I said with Eketike, just like I said with an Omega, he is still very young. Now, people will come up with this to say, but he scored 12 goals, for a poor Ipswich Town. But also, you forget how teams set up against this poor Ipswich Town. And you also should and must remember that teams who set up a lot differently, against Chelsea, and will set up, to be more aggressive in their defending against a Chelsea striker, and you would have less space. And the issue of lack of experience. You need experience as a footballer in general, but as a striker is very important, and especially in a team like Chelsea where all the players are young. We've been crying out for experienced players, players who have been there, done it, bought the t-shirt, and owned the house in terms of leading a team on the title charge, winning titles along the way, scoring goals, in that journey towards winning a title or titles. And then you go for Liam Delap as the only option, as your only striker you're signing. Then for me, that is a big issue, because you haven't solved your problem. You've just brought in one inexperienced striker, a raw striker that you would then pair up with another inexperienced striker, a raw striker again. And now, people who are overly celebrating this supposed signing of Liam Delap would, trust me, once the season starts 5, 6, 10, 15 games into the season, people will begin to complain. How did he sign a raw striker, an inexperienced striker? He still has to build up. He needs to learn. Forgetting that this is the 6th window in this supposed transfer, in this Chelsea project. And it was meant to be the fourth window was meant to be the window where Chelsea became super competitive for domestic titles and European honours. So for me, this doesn't quite do it. But if you get a Liam Delap alongside my own favorite number one choice, Victor Osimhen, for instance, then brilliant. That's fine. You've got a Liam Delap that can learn off of Victor Osimhen, a Nicolas Jackson that can learn off of Victor Osimhen, and then he leads the line as the main striker, and then Liam Delap can come in 20 minutes to go, 30 minutes to go when Osimhen has battered down the opposing defense, probably scoring a couple of goals along the way, and that way you can then bed in a Liam Delap better. Or if you say, okay, Ugo, we're not going to give you what you want, we'll sign another top level striker like a Victor Gyökeres. And I can say, okay, yes, you fulfill that need, and you sign someone who's actually very experienced and has gone on to score lots of goals for Sporting Lisbon side, both in the Champions League and in the domestic Portuguese league as well. And has scored, when he played in Champions League, he scored against Man City. That's arguably the best side, at least one of the best side ever seen in English football. So if you do that, then the signing then makes some sense. But if you intend to go with Liam Delap and Jackson, or even a Liam Delap and a Hugo Ekitike, to inexperienced strikers, to inexperienced players. Now, you're hoping on one side of the spectrum, which is if they can score 15 goals for, score 22 goals for Frankfurt, I think that's what Ekitike scored, and if Liam Delap can score 12 goals for an Ipswich Town, then you can only imagine the amount of goals they can score if they come to Chelsea. You have the mighty Cole Palmer playing in behind them. You have the majestic Noni Madueke on the left. You have Super Pedro Neto. So you can imagine the chances that will be created for them. But that is only one side of the argument, only one side of the discussion. You also and must talk about how teams set up against Frankfurt is different from how teams set up against a Bayern, different from how teams set up against a Chelsea. How teams set up against an Ipswich Town is different from how teams who set up against a Chelsea. And then a player may have the raw talent, but how about the experience? How about that leadership that we as fans have been clamoring for? Enzo Maresca has been clamoring for as well, that he gives instructions, he sets the team up tactically, but he also would love to have experienced players on the pitch that can provide that leadership. And when you have potentially three very young, inexperienced strikers, what does that mean for you? Does that mean you'll be writing off yet another season to say, okay, we're going to let these players develop again, whilst we know we're not going to compete for the title? We may come fifth, or it may now be for the next 3 years competing just to get in the top four, not competing for the Premier League title or competing for the Champions League. So those are my thoughts and opinions on this supposed signing of Liam Delap. I would like to know what your opinions are in the comment section, and do subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you on yet another video. So stay well, stay blessed.